Okay, everybody, good afternoon. Hope you guys are still doing well today. We've had ourselves another little news update from the Seattle Seahawks, although I will admit it's a little bit thin, but there isn't going to be a lot else that happens today, so I figured I'd go ahead and make a video about what just happened, even though it's probably going to be pretty quick. And I will admit up front that it's not overly consequential, nor is anything surprising here. But Mike Macdonald just had a press conference. To be perfectly honest, he didn't really go over all that much. He didn't talk about anything that was shocking to us, which is good because frankly, the only things that could happen at this point that are shocking would be bad, right? Like, oh, this guy got hurt over the weekend when he was at home and he can't play. So we don't have to worry about that. So that's kind of nice. But I will go over the handful of things that he said in this presser. All right, everybody, before we go any further into the video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about a wonderful app called Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat about sports in real time with other users. You can get all kinds of scores, sports news, and sports alerts with blazing fast speed. And of course, you can play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports with other people in a community. Download the Sleeper app today and remember to use the promo code SBN, that is SBN, for up to $100 match on your first deposit. And they also have a free $20 entry right now, no deposit required. So pair those two up. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. Check out the Sleeper app and have fun with sports this year. Okay, so the first thing that McDonald talked about today was Elijah Arroyo. Elijah Arroyo, according to McDonald, could play this weekend. It is possible. He didn't go any further than that. He didn't guarantee anything. He didn't get into it and say, oh, there's a X% chance that he'll play. But he did say it is possible that he will return off injured reserve and play Saturday in the playoff game against the 49ers. So obviously that's your backup tight end, so the impact isn't going to be huge. But there is actually something a little bit notable with Elijah Arroyo that I am going to admit in this video, even though I will at the same time tell you that I'm not sure that this means what the numbers indicate that it means. But nevertheless, Arroyo has a chance to come back, and he offers things with his skill set that the other tight ends on this team just do not have. That much is obvious. Arroyo is an athletic tight end with a decent amount of speed. I don't think he has as much speed as some people think. Some people think he's a 4.55 guy when healthy. I don't see 4.55 with him. I see more like a 4.65 type, maybe even a 4.7. But that's still actually a good deal faster than what we have otherwise. Remember, AJ Barner ran a 4.84 40 time at his pro day at Michigan. So he's really not got speed, and therefore he isn't able to threaten downfield, and he isn't able to make a lot of big plays down the field, and he isn't able to stress out a defense the way Arroyo does, even though Barner is, at this point, obviously a much better player. So even though Arroyo's production has not been big this year, he's got, what, 15 catches and less than 200 yards and a touchdown in 13 games. He averages barely over one catch a game. There is something to be said for his presence on the field opening up other things. And this tweet by Seahawks Nerd, which was, I believe, last week, kind of helps sum it up really well. When the Seahawks have had Arroyo, they've had one of the best offenses in the league, and they've had one of the best drop back EPAs in the league. They were eighth in EPA per play. They were fifth in drop back EPA per play. They had an elite passing attack, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And ever since Arroyo went out, now it's only 4 games, but their EPA actually went to below average, and their dropback EPA went to actually bad. Their dropback EPA has been bad since Arroyo went out. Now, I am going to caution people to keep in mind, Arroyo only missed 4 games. I don't think that he single-handedly has this big of an impact on the offense. And I would also say that there should be some consideration for how Arroyo may not play very much even if he comes back because it's his first game back from an injury and he's a rookie. And I don't know how much they're going to trust him in the postseason when they have veterans they can turn to that they know they can trust, even if they don't have the talent of Arroyo. The same reason why I don't think Horton would have played very much even if he was healthy. So this is a thing and it makes sense, right? You can kind of do the math in your head and you can say, "Hey, this Arroyo guy can do things that the other tight ends on this team cannot do. The other tight ends on this team are slower, bulkier, they're more blocking tight ends. Barner can make catches, but he doesn't really make a lot of catches deep down the field. He's not really a downfield threat in the way Arroyo is. 4 of Arroyo's catches this year have gone for at least 24 yards. So he does offer some of that field stretching ability, and it does seem like on some level it's opening up the rest of the offense. So I'd like to have him back if at all possible, but I don't think it's a make or break thing at all, and I'm not convinced that these numbers are reflecting reality. Well, they're reflecting reality, but I don't think these numbers are telling us about Arroyo so much as they're telling us about some other things at play here with this offense. And also remember that Arroyo, not a great run blocker, so you're losing something when you put him out there on the field compared to even Eric Saubert, who isn't a great player, but is a better blocker than Arroyo. Okay, so that was the main thing that we got from Macdonald today, but again, it's vague. We also got this about Kobe Bryant. He actually sounded a little bit less sure about Kobe Bryant. He did say that Kobe Bryant will practice this week, but he did acknowledge that it's not yet determined if he's going to play this weekend. We need to see how he practices. He hasn't played for a few weeks now because he had the knee injury, and there is, of course, a possibility that Kobe doesn't get to play this weekend. Now, even if he does, I expect that Kobe Bryant will be a part-time player this weekend, and we're going to see a decent amount of Ty Okada. And I think most people are okay with that because there's a reasonable debate right now over whether or not Okada is better than Kobe Bryant. I don't believe that he is, but I do think that there are probably some areas where Okada's a little bit better. And I think you would see a situation where Kobe would be kind of rotated in for like 25 snaps and just to get a feel for how he looks and how things are going. And maybe they can pull the plug on that experiment if it looks like it's not going well and he's giving stuff up and he's not himself. So I'm not getting the sense that Kobe's going to make a completely clean return to the roster, but I do think he'll play, and you're probably just going to see a rotation at safety. So I don't think it's a big deal because, again, Okada's played very well. I do think that Kobe is overall a better player and a better player to have for where the Seahawks team is right now, but it's debatable. It's debatable, and it's not definite. I will admit that. So no guarantee here. Again, Macdonald being vague. I think Kobe will play this weekend, but he probably won't play the whole game. And other than that, the only thing that Macdonald really went in depth in on the press conference was just how strange it is to play a team 2 games in a row in the NFL, which I talked about that a little bit. It's definitely different. It happens very rarely. And I believe I saw a stat that said the Seahawks have only done it 1 time in their franchise history before. And Macdonald did talk a little bit about how the game is going to play out way different than the last one, and you got to do a great job of recognizing it and making adjustments. So it's the kind of stuff you would expect him to say. Of course, he's going to say that stuff. And of course, you expect the Niners to do something different this time. Shanahan's a little too good of a coach to just go out there with the exact same game plan and the exact same set of plays and do things exactly the same way. And absolutely, I would not expect the Niners to only score 3 points and have 173 yards again. But overall, I'm going to stick to what I've been saying for a while now, which is this 49ers team, the state that they're in, and all the circumstances going into this game, there is not that much that they can do. There is not that much that they can do, and you should be able to take care of this, period. I know it's a little unconventional to play a team 2 times in a row like this, but this is not the time to play that card. There are a ton of other cards that you can play. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks.